Keep going. All right, so when I first started DJing, I kind of did it backwards. I put out my first mixtape before I ever touched the turntable, right? So I'm gonna tell you, tell you how that happened. All right, before I ever wanted to be a DJ, right? Before I ever knew I could be a DJ, before I ever had the epiphany, right, to become a DJ, I was like, I was just basically trying to figure out life. You know what I'm saying? So I was in school, I was in college, it wasn't working out. I was going to school for education. I don't know why, but you know what I'm saying? Now I do know why. My dad was a teacher. So I figured, you know what I mean, I could go down that road, but it didn't work. So short story long, long story short, I went to college, went to Bethune-Cookman for a year, transferred to TCC. I did so bad that I had to come back because financial aid, when your grades get, I think under 2.0, they take your financial aid. They take your financial aid. But so boom, I was in TCC. I came back to Miami. Boom, I'm at Miami-Dade, and I'm just at a crossroads of like what I want to do in my life. You feel what I'm trying to say? I need to be doing something. I'm working these odd jobs, and it's not working out. So I go to like thinking about passion and like what's my real passion. You know what I'm saying? What can I do every day? Get up in the morning, get paid for that I really love. You know what I'm saying? And then I just started thinking deep, introspectively, like, what do I really love? What do I do every day? And one day I just said, man, I'm in the club every night, right? I listen to mixtapes all day. I play the radio all day. I listen to rap music all day. Why don't I just be a DJ? You know what I mean? And then in the beginning, I thought it was far-fetched. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was far-fetched, like coming from, because I felt like if you wasn't doing it from a shorty, you know what I'm saying? It's like no way to kind of get into it. But you know how the universe works. At this time, we just keep it 1,000, right? While I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing, I'm selling weed, right? Selling a lot of weed. Feel me? I'm selling a lot of weed. And I was selling a lot of weed. And through selling weed, you know what I mean, I meet a couple of DJs who are already DJing, right? Doing their thing in the city. Through that relationship, one day they asked me to come down to the studio. So boom, I come down to the studio, and now this is the first time I'm really in it. Like, hey, I'm seeing it, like fruition. Before it was like, so they asked me to come down to the studio. So they're in the studio and then they're making mixtapes, right? This is around the time Gangsta Grills. Gangsta Grills was big, DJ Drama, right? So this is the mixtape era in the mix of everybody mixtape. So the DJs that I hooked up with, through my relationship, slinging weed and shit, they made mixtapes. They made mixtapes, right? They made mixtapes. They made a lot of mixtapes. So I go to the studio one day and then they're in there making mixtapes. So I just see the process and I'm like, not for nothing, I could do this. I could really do this. You know what I mean? I could really do this. So I would just come to the studio. You know what I mean? I wouldn't even like just pop up on them some days. You feel me? I had the weed. They needed the weed, so I just go in there and sit. So that turned into me helping them out with their mixtapes. You feel me? I'm talking about packaging and everything. Burning CDs. This was CD era. I would burn their CDs for them. Anything to be there and learn and get out of the trap. You feel what I'm trying to say? So I'm in there learning, until one day I just say, fuck it, I'm gonna make my own mixtape. Feel me? So after being in the studio with these guys, working on their mixtapes, helping them create their mixtapes, bought myself a computer, right? Bought myself an inbox, you know what I mean? Pro Tools, whatever, so on and so forth. And I put myself together my first mixtape. You got blend tapes and you got mixtapes, right? Difference. Blend tapes are on the turntables. Feel me?
Okay.
To whereas I'm recording and I'm blending the songs nonstop.
Okay.
You get what I'm trying to say? Not for nothing. Mixtapes, right, were more like, around when I'm creating them in Gangsta Grills and so on and so forth, like albums. You feel what I'm trying to say? Like precursor albums. So what you would do around this time is just really add your drops. You feel what I'm trying to say? Of course you could do some mixing, so on and so forth, but really it was about adding your tags, which you did in Pro Tools. You get what I'm trying to say? So really if you had a computer, you could put together a mixtape, right? Just what we were doing back then. You feel what I'm trying to say? Really was just putting the music together and putting your tags on it. So I learned from these guys, bought my computer and made my first mixtape. It's called Dope Boy Music, right? At this time, Jeezy, T.I., biggest niggas, Gucci Man. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm really in the, yeah, '05, '06. I'm really in the trap music. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm listening to at the time, you know what I mean? Yeah, so so then I figured, all right, I'm gonna create Dope Boy music, right? I'm gonna create all the trap shit or a mixtape around all the trap shit I like to listen to, right? And I'm gonna add artists from my city. You feel what I'm trying to say? In between the Gucci Mans, the T.I.s, and all the hot trap shit, you know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna mix the artists out of my city that I fuck with into my mixtape. So I created a series called Dope Boy Music, right? So I put out my first mixtape. That's why I said I put out a mixtape before I ever touched the turntable. So I put out a mixtape. Back then you had a lot of mixtape websites, DatPiff, Mixtape Torrent, live mixtapes, so on and so forth. So I put out my first mixtape, put it on the internet, and you know it got some love. Back then we were making physical copies too, right? CDs. So this how, damn, it's just so much to talk about. This, this is how I really knew DJing was for me. My first mixtape, right, it was called Dope Boy Music. I took the theme of Cocaine Cowboys. Because this at the time, Cocaine Cowboys, the movie, was on bootleg in the hood. Okay. It wasn't really out yet in the movies, but every nigga had it on DVD bootleg. But it was going crazy in Miami. So I took the theme and the concept from Cocaine Cowboys to do my first cover, right? All right. Cocaine Cowboys, there was if you watch the movie, there was a Time magazine news cover where it said Paradise Lost. And this was like when Miami was going crazy. You feel me? Like in the 80s, like cocaine just was, people dying. I think they just shot up Dayland Mall. Like it was going crazy. So it was a Time magazine news cover to where it's Paradise Lost. So I took that same Time magazine cover and I made my mixtape cover, right? And I just switched up the wording. You feel what I'm trying to say? But I took it, and then inside of the mixtape, I took excerpts from Cocaine Cowboy. So like my intro, you feel what I'm trying to say, was for, I just really, that was my theme.
Again, the structure and the storytelling and the beginning to end of the album just...
I was not even knowing I was doing it, but I was doing it. You feel what I'm trying to say? I was doing it. But I knew I had to have some type of theme as far as like, you know what I mean? And why not? Because it was the biggest thing in the hood, right? So I knew that, you know, like it would resonate. So I took excerpts from Cocaine Cowboys, and in between the songs I have little intros, and you know what I mean? So not for nothing, I put that mixtape together, boom. We printed up some copies. I took it to the flea market, right? Because this was the time whereas you still had mixtape stores. Damn, time's past. I'm getting old. But this is time where people still had mixtapes. Like you could go to the flea market and they had stores in the flea market where that sold mixtapes. You know what I mean? Sold CDs, so on and so forth. So I took my mixtape to the flea market. Boom. I had my information and everything on it, you know what I mean, the cover, and I gave it to them. So I guess not for nothing, they playing it, right? They playing it and they loving it, they fucking with it. So he played, because remember I'm telling you it's Cocaine Cowboys. So I had the excerpts and not for nothing, like I said, I took all the hot trap shit that was going on and I mixed it with, you know, people in the city. So it kind of resonated in the flea market. Boom. He's playing it one day. Just so happens, assistant director and the executive, might have been executive producer, from the real movie, Cocaine Cowboys, they're in the flea market. Why they're in the flea market, I don't know. But they're in the flea market and they walk by the store that's playing my CD. And they're hearing the excerpts. So it blows their mind. He's like, how in the hell, right? The movie, because remember, the movie didn't come out yet.
Okay.
It was still on DVD. So, like, I'm doing all type of copyright infringements. And then, you know what I mean?
Mixtape era.
Exactly, you feel me? So it blew their mind. So he walks into the shop and he's like, damn, what CD is that? That's our movie. And he gives them my mixtape, which had my information. One day I get a phone call. I believe it was Rackator, if I'm not mistaken, was the name of the production company. He's like, I'm so-and-so from Rackator Production Company. I'm calling you about your mixtape, Dope Boy Music, Volume 1. And I'm thinking like, damn, oh shit.
Write it down.
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? What did I do? And he's like, no, I'm just reaching out to you to let you know that it's a great mixtape and a great concept, and we really love what you did as far as promotion. We have a movie coming out, which is gonna be the real movie, and we want you to be a part of it. So we want you to come down to the office and, just chop it up with us. So they had a little office on South Beach. So this is off my first mixtape.
Wow.
The first mixtape I ever put together. It reached.
Let you know.
Exactly. It reached, you know what I mean? Like I kind of manifested it. Like, you know what I mean? It reached the actual directors of the movie, right? You know what I'm saying? So I'm in their office and, long story short story long, because I'm tying this into how me and Berg met.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm tying this how me and Berg met. So, boom, I'm in the office. They telling me, okay, you got battery?
I don't know, maybe.
You
I
good?
didn't miss anything.
You good?
We got a bar.
A bar?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got to cut it short? We're going to do another one?
You want me to switch better?
I mean, I don't know what
Finish
you want to
the
do.
story.
All right, so I'm gonna finish the story. All right, I'm gonna get to the gist of it. So boom, in the office, they loving what I'm doing as far as promotions, so on and so forth. So this is how I knew making mixtapes at least I could do something with, right? So boom, after that I got the bug. I dropped Dope Boy Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5. I go crazy. And now I got a buzz in the city, right? Outside of my mixtape, I wanted to do a Gangsta Grills, like inspired by DJ Drama, to whereas it was a mixtape, but it was all solo artists. So he'll just say he'll do a Gangsta Grills on T.I. Or like Trap or Die, Jeezy, where it was all Jeezy. One of the first artists I chose was my brother Ice Billion Berg. But this was before I even knew him, right? This was just me putting out mixtapes. I do a unofficial, because at the time I didn't know him, I just do an unofficial mixtape of all his music. This was I named the mixtape series Trap Certified, right? So this is my first Trap Certified of my Dope Boy Music volume series of one artist, and I chose Ice Billion Bird. Because, I was a fan at the time, going crazy. I believe this was maybe around Color on Color era, but he was just going crazy. You feel me? Had the city just, so I'm like, man, I gotta do one on Berg. Boom.
Is this your first single artist?
Yeah, my first single artist. Yeah, my first single artist. Yeah, that's just the universe, just in my favor. This is my first single artist mixtape, right? Was Ice Billion Berg, Trap Certified. I put it out. Matter of fact, I'm lying. Second.
Okay.
It was second. It was the second one. The first one I did, artist out of Palm Beach, G-Boy and Toe Down. This is, you know what I mean? Shouts out to Palm Beach. I was in Palm Beach early. You feel me? Shouts out to Palm Beach. It was the second, right? Boom, Ice Billion Berg. So whatever. I put the mixtape out. Berg hears it. How he hears it, I don't know. I guess cars or whatever, you know what I mean? He, now being on the internet, reaches back out. This was when Twitter was popping, because I was going crazy on Twitter with the links and all of that. He hit me up on Twitter. He reached back like, let's do an official mixtape. I love what you did with this mixtape. How about you come to the studio and we do an official mixtape? You know what I mean? So that's how we linked up. You know what I mean? Then I ended up coming to the studio. We did Strictly for the Smokers. We did Strictly for the Smokers. So that was the first. From me doing Trap Certified, he actually gave me Strictly for the Smokers as an official mixtape collab between us.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And then from that relationship, from making Strictly from the Smokers, or Strictly for the Smokers, I'm sorry, we just bonded. And ever since then, it was like a brotherhood. I told him, I'm like, you know what I mean? Why don't we just make it official? Like after this mixtape, you feel me? You know what I mean? I'm a fan of your music. You know what I mean? Why don't we just, this is for me. It was big at the time because this, this is Berg. Like this is anybody in Miami know. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the time, like, shit, why not? And then we just stayed down. So after that, we did Strictly for the Smokers. I was already been playing his music, so that wasn't nothing. But we just stayed down, and then from there we did Live House season. You know what I mean? So he reached back out again, put me on Live House season. Me, Smokey, and DJ Obscene. We did that one again. You know what I mean? So just over the years of just staying down, we just created a real brotherhood outside of the music, not for nothing. And then, but yeah, that's how we met, from mixtapes, from putting out mixtapes and just being on my grind, and the universe. I always say the universe put us together because, you know what I'm saying, it was kind of inevitable that was gonna happen. Now that I look back,
Yeah.
as far as like where I'm at in my life and where he's at in his life and how we just kind of bonded, it was like inevitable. But it was through the mixtapes we linked up. I did an unofficial mixtape on him, and I hope I'm not too long-winded, but I did an unofficial mixtape on him.
What the story?
I did an unofficial mixtape on him. He got wind of it. He reached back out, and it's just been on ever since. So that's how we kind of met.